sometimes I'm just like, I can't be bothered with some of these things that happen. So I want to show you guys what's going on in the garden. It has been so long since I've done a garden tour, and I just wanted to share everything that is happening in October. So on my table, I have yet to uppot my pomegranate tree, and shame on me. This tree has really been trying to grow. This probably would have been so much further along. You can see I have a mini pomegranate. It's dropped so many fruits because it's just not in the proper growing medium, but we will be taking care of that soon. I have some Italian oregano here that is like half on, half off. I think it's turned red with the fall. I have quite a bit of dried oregano in the house, well, dried Italian oregano, but I want to get that up potted as well so the plant has more potential to grow. These are the coleuses that I have left that I have not planted, and I don't know if they're going to get planted because I honestly just don't have anywhere to put them. We have aloe. I have an aloe plant and a mini aloe plant, so I do need to separate these two. I guess these kind of like just died off at the bottom, but this is looking pretty good. We have some new leaves sprouting in between. I do want to up pot that and get it into a bigger pot, and then use the small pot for the second aloe plant that is growing in there. I have some regular Greek oregano, and then my banana mint plant, which the banana mint is doing better than the oregano, but it is getting attacked a little bit on the inside. The oregano definitely has gotten eaten up by some bugs. We will take care of that by cutting those back probably sometime in the next couple of weeks. I need to do a lot of maintenance, y'all. There's a lot going on in this garden, and I've been trying to, do the, I guess, the busy work per se, but I've been ignoring that a little bit more than just getting the garden transitioned over. This is my original peppermint and lemon balm pots. I haven't really been harvesting off of this, but I will go ahead and cut that back. That'll grow back. I wanted to separate those and put them in their own individual pots. So I guess the thing that I need to figure out is I already have my lemon balm pot. I need a pot for peppermint, and then once I do that, whether or not I can get this soil clear enough and free from any mint to grow something else in it. I have some chicory here, which I've never grown chicory before. If you have any tips on how to use it, I know that it's a thing like in New Orleans style coffee, but you can eat both the leaves and the it grows tubers like underground. So let me know if you use that. I don't really know what to do with it. Haven't started researching, but if you can offer some tips, I'll definitely take them. My thyme is looking good. It's starting to shoot up again in the front. Of course, like every other herb, there is a spot where some bugs have taken over, and I need to get that out of there, but the rest of it looks pretty good. We have my mint, which is trying to do well now. I guess that it's cooled down. You can see some really good pieces in there scattered amongst the ones that are looking a little questionable, but I haven't even harvested any, and I probably should while we got some nice pretty foliage going on. My raspberries look pathetic, y'all, and it is okay. I have started harvesting from this tree. Again, this is the only one that's putting on fruit, but I still have not taken the time to come out and cut these like dead pieces off, and I do need to do that because the tree is still fruiting. You can see it's putting on new blooms down here on this side as well, and I definitely want to continue harvesting that fruit for as long as I can. My purple raspberry, the mammoth, and the autumn bliss did absolutely nothing, so I'm pretty settled on getting a different growing medium because it's obvious that these pots are just too small for the raspberries. And if the sound quality improves, it's because I just turned the mic around, because that is something I always forget to do. I have my lemon balm in this pot. I actually harvested this the other day and dried some, so I'm starting to build my little lemon balm collection for teas and stuff. And when I say this stuff smells so good, oh my god, it's intoxicating. Like if you've ever had like limoncello candies, that's what it smells like. Not limoncello, it smells like limoncello, but if you've ever had lemon head candies, that's what it smells like. Like that lemon is so intoxicating. These are the blueberry plants. This is my Tiff blue plant, and I question this plant because it looks like this plant struggles with rust. It seems like the leaves might be starting to change colors now, so there is a level of just what the leaves are doing for the fall, but it definitely has been suffering from a little bit of rust. And I haven't really done research on blueberry rust, but I'm hoping that that doesn't become an issue next year when it's time for the plant to fruit. This is my Centurion blueberry, and this one has done pretty well. It's put on some new foliage, which we love that, because the more branches I have this year, the more we'll be able to get fruit next year. So I'm excited about that. I do plan on for 2024 getting one more blueberry plant. I want to have 3. Blueberries are something that I really like to eat. Berries in general are something that I really like to eat, and I just want to make sure that we have plenty to go around. I set up a little planter here, and I put my mums in them as well as some coleus. Now these mums I purchased, they were about this size when I got them from the store, but they were all white. I had no idea that they were gonna get this like purple tint, y'all, and these things are beautiful. I am absolutely loving it, and I'm glad I picked that plant up. So hopefully, I don't know if that's just because of the fall, if they're just two-toned, or you know, whatever I guess like enzyme or chemical that goes through the plant, it gets lost when it gets cool, and then that's like the natural reaction. But either way, I'm so pleased with that. The coleuses, I have been loving those. They do take their time to get really big is what I've noticed, but I'm hoping that they will survive through the winter, and that even if they don't, that they bring themselves back in the fall. On my little messy table over here, which I am slowly cleaning up, it looks a tragic mess, but I have my onions that I started. They're starting to come up, and some spider webs are living over top of them, but I'm trying to grow roughly about, I wouldn't say 500 onions in my garden, in my small backyard garden this coming year. So I'm excited to see that they're starting to come up. I'll probably transplant these out in maybe middle November, after we get the beds amended and all that good stuff. I have some plants over here that absolutely just need to come out with rotted fruit on them, and while they aren't doing excuse me, while they aren't doing a ton of like anything, they do need to come out, because I'm not doing anything with that bag. I have a bag here that I had some fennel planted in, and you can see one that's looking like it's starting to sprout. I don't know if I've been keeping this bag watered well enough, but it is time for me to water today, so I'll probably do that after I'm done with the tour. I have some turnips that are finally starting to shoot up, and in this bag I have coleus planted with it, and apparently there's a tulip in here. Now, I don't know much about tulips, but apparently they bulb underneath, and I didn't know that. So I guess when I pulled out the other plant that I had, it left a bulb behind in the bag that it was in, and that's what happened, and that started coming up. In this bag over here, I have some red romaine as well as some other plants coming up. Now, y'all, I don't know what this is, to be honest. I think it might be my Nancy Butterhead lettuce. I have several seeds in here. Only one has come up so far. I have some bunching onions, and then in this corner over here I have some arugula that also hasn't sprouted. So I don't know if it's just like too hot for it right now, which is very possible. We're still having pretty warm temperatures during the day, mid to high 70s, and then at night it has been pretty cool, but you know, lettuce needs a little bit lower temperatures in order to truly be successful. So I think we're starting to just now see growth because maybe of the nighttime temperatures. I don't know. But I'm waiting on my lettuce, and it's like, it seems like they're taking forever. Why? Because it's the one thing that I've been like anxious to get my hands on. My rosemary is doing okay. I haven't really been harvesting from this, and I probably need to cut the plant back and stimulate some growth on it. I do actually want to start some new rosemary from seed. That was like the one thing I didn't do, even though I have the seeds over the spring. But I will be doing that for next year. We have more flowers set up here. So I have a purple coleus, which, oh no, it seems like it's starting to lose its color. So I don't know, in some places, I guess. I don't know if that's a natural thing for the plant or what, but this one is growing at a rate much faster than like the pink ones. So I cannot wait for these plants to get like super big. I have my red mums, and this is, to me, honestly, the first time I can recall these mums like coming up like this abundantly and looking so pretty. So I'm really pleased with these. I remember somebody telling me when I was questioning whether or not to get rid of this plant, like, don't get rid of it, they'll keep coming back. I'm so glad I listened to that person, because these I'm absolutely in love with this year. My sweet alyssum is doing really well in this little pot. It's another thing that just keeps coming back time and time again. Looks like we have an assassin bug hanging out in there. So I will leave him be. And then I have a dead plant here. I'm holding on to this only because this plant was like so pretty. I don't know the name of it, but I'm hoping that in its like die off, it drops some seeds and that perhaps the plant will sprout again next spring. That's the only reason I'm keeping this around, and if it does, I will be extremely happy. If not, then I will go ahead and get rid of it. On this side, I have some borage growing, as well as some pink petunias. My chamomile has died off, but I did see, and I don't know if they're still coming up, I had seen some like that were sprouting. Oh no, did I lean into something? But it seems like they disappeared. I think I leaned into a spider web. So I don't know if those are gonna like resprout. I know for sure that they dropped seeds, because there were some sprouts, but maybe they just died off. Who knows? It might have been too cold. Of course, we have my yellow Egyptian guava, and this plant looks so good. I cannot wait for these plants to start fruiting. I'm praying, fingers crossed, that we get fruit next year. This is my dwarf guava, and the growth habit for this plant, it's a dwarf plant, so I think this one is not supposed to get bigger than like 5 feet. And it seems to be doing really well in a small pot. So as it has been, the Meyer lemon is looking quite questionable, and I don't know if this plant doesn't do what I need it to do next year, I'm probably gonna go ahead and just take it out the garden, because I don't want to waste time, energy, or nutrients on things that are not producing. The key lime is doing really well. I actually have quite a few that I probably need to come in here and pick, and I need to spray this plant because I am seeing some things that look like nests of sorts in here. I don't know what they are. I don't know if you guys can actually see that, but I definitely don't want anything like nesting in my citrus. Like, I honestly can't tell, but you can see that. So I don't know. I know that these are typically subject to like scaly bugs, and I don't know if that's exactly what that is or what, but I try not to spray these because I read that you are not supposed to spray citrus trees like that. It can affect the plant overall, but sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. Okay, y'all, so This is the roselle plant, right? This is the roselle. Now it is about to be November, and I still haven't gotten any, and I'm trying not to put y'all directly in the sun. I still haven't gotten any blooms, like actual roselle. But it does, and I can't tell if these are just like new leaves or these are actual roselle flowers. It does to me look like the roselle flowers, like they're starting to come up at the top. This tree has to be about 8 to 8.5 feet tall now. So I can hardly see up there, if I'm being honest. Like, if you didn't know, I was told that I guess I look taller on camera than I actually am, but I'm a real medium 5'2.5", 5'3", so I cannot see up there. But this is the mango tree. It's definitely putting on some more growth. I'm hoping that by the time next year comes, we'll have actual production. I mean, we did get some fruits this year, but they were destroyed by like the leaf-footed bugs. So next year, I don't know, I may end up spraying that tree in kaolin clay to keep them off, because they really destroyed all of the fruits that would have been. This is my galangal plant. Hubby came out and weeded this plant for me, thank goodness. Sometimes I'm just like, I can't be bothered with some of these things that happen. And it's not just that I don't want to do it, it's more like I'll be afraid to get in the weeds and when things get overgrown. And I'm telling y'all, when he cut this, there was it a grasshopper? I think it was a grasshopper, and it jumped on him while he was cutting this. And I said, see, now had it been me, he would have found me out here laying on the ground, because if that thing would have jumped on me, it would have been over. So on this side, this is one of our first beds that we had transitioned over, and we are back to having our netting on. So I'm sorry if it's not the best of views, but I have in this bed some cauliflower. These two plants are cauliflower here. This is a broccoli. It was just kind of like one that was left on its lonesome after I planted out the other. I think it's a walnut, if I'm not mistaken, after I planted out the other one. So I just threw it in this bed. I do have some red cabbages that have sprouted over here as well. I have 2 more in these little blocks that didn't come up yet. I'm hoping they will come up. If not, if they don't come up in like the next 2 weeks, I'll go ahead and replant them, and then they'll just be like a later harvest. We have 2 Brussels sprout plants in here, and then I also have a cabbage on that side. My sprouting broccoli, I guess it sprouted. It might have got overwatered when I was watering the actual plants that needed it, and then I gave them some fertilizer. So I think the fertilizer, between the fertilizer and the water, I killed the seedling. So I'll go ahead and actually replant that, and then I have chives over in that corner. The peppers are still up, but we are coming to the point where I will be pulling these out pretty soon. I'm not going to go through what's in here, but you guys can see that they are still, I still have some bell peppers and all that good stuff. And my cubanelles are doing great. It's sad that I have to take them out, but I have some broccoli transplants that do need a home, as well as a couple more like Brussels sprouts and stuff. So I do need to get them in there. On this side, we have some more brassicas. I have kale plants coming up in these first 2 slots. I actually dropped 2 seeds in one, so I do need to cut one of those out. This is another broccoli. This is an Eastern Magic. And y'all, this was the broccoli I grew last year. Absolutely loved it. The flavor was delicious, and I cannot wait for those to come up. On this side, I have these are purple kohlrabi. I have lemongrass behind it. I have rutabagas behind that, if y'all can see that. Those last 3 plants in the back are cauliflower. And then we have some Romanesco broccolis. And I'm pretty proud of these plants, because these plants were looking a little sketchy when I put them in. They looked like they were doing well, then they looked like they weren't doing well, and now they're back to looking like they're doing well. So I guess they just needed their footing. And then I have some celery in here that I've been growing for months, and I had to like cut that back because it wasn't looking great. I cut off the parts that were like rusting, and you know, the leaves that weren't good, that kind of stuff. So it seems to be doing okay now, and I'm thinking I should plant some more just so that we can have a nice celery harvest going into the spring. I'm very happy about this bed over here, and you can see we have quite a bit of brassica growth in here. When I first started these plants, these were another set of plants. Everything was looking a little crazy and spindly, and I think it was just one of those things where I probably had taken just a little too long to up pot them. But we have some kale here. I harvested some at the baby stage in an effort to try to get the plants to like push their growth a little bit. It seemed to have worked, so now we have like bigger leaves on them. I want to harvest some of these because I don't want the kale to get too big, so maybe I'll come out and do like my first fall harvest pretty soon. I have some cabbages that I was like concerned about, but they're actually starting to close up and form their heads. So let's pray for cabbages this year because I did not do well with those last year. I have a purple sprouting broccoli, another plant that I was like, this plant there's no way it's gonna make it, and lo and behold, here we are. I have more lemongrass. Those 4 plants on that back corner are my Georgia collards, and they have gotten quite big in the last couple of days. I actually am probably going to harvest those pretty soon. I know people are probably going to be in the comments like, why? They're supposed to get super big. I personally, after growing collards this last year, I prefer to pick them young. They are absolutely tender and delicious, and they don't need all the extra cooking and stewing that you have to do when you wait until the collard green gets like really, really massive. So I enjoy them that way. I prefer to pick them young. I make little baggies, but I want to start pulling them off, you know, the first sets of leaves anyhow, to give the plants that boost that they need to get growing. These are all broccolis, these 4 plants here. So these are the Waltham 29 broccolis. I haven't seen a broccoli sprout yet, but I will say that this plant, all 4 of them actually, I think the last time I was out here was maybe like 2 days ago, and they were not that big. And then in that little corner over there, I have another kale. That is a black magic kale. I believe these are mamba kales. So I didn't pick that one yet, but I'm probably going to, and I think that will do well for that plant so it can like kick up some of its growth. In this bed, we still have our Thai peppers that are going strong. This will probably be the one set of pepper plants that I leave, simply because I'm waiting for these Thai peppers to turn red. So I want to get as many red Thai peppers as I possibly can. Red Thai curry is one of my favorite things to eat, so as much of that as I can have for myself, I will do that. I have tomatoes in here, my Romas. They are growing in, seem to be doing pretty well. They're sizing up nicely, even though some of the plants are like falling over. And I cannot wait to get my tomatoes off of here. I think that we'll get some right ones. Tomatoes will grow fine for us as long as it doesn't freeze. Even though the nights have been unusually cold, the plants seem to be doing pretty okay. I have the purple basil down here, which I probably need to cut back just a tad so that it can bush out. And then I had a little parsley, so I went ahead and just planted it, and I was like, this should take off in this bed. Parsley, you know, gets really, really big, and the cooler it gets, the more vigorous that plant will get. So can't wait for that because I don't have any parsley. We have an ugly worm over here. I have no idea what this is. There are several of them, but these bean plants are going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. These things are so ugly, and I forgot the name of them. I did look them up, but there are so many of them. It's brown. It has this like big old head. If you know what that is, like, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to go searching again. I don't know if those are like large cutworms or leaf curler worms, but I feel like I remember it being something completely different from either one of those things. We have tomatoes on this side. I finally trimmed these back. This is a Marglobe tomato. Now, whether or not this one is going to make it to its full potential, I don't know. I have an Early Girl, which has already done some fruit setting, and I think these will be fine, if I'm being honest. I think those will be fine. These are orange clementine tomatoes. This is kind of like what you would call like a saladette tomato. It's kind of between like a cherry tomato and a regular tomato, and I do think this one will be fine as well. We did really good with cherry tomatoes last year until I absolutely let them get caught in below freezing temperatures. The plant died off, but up until that point, even in like the 40 degrees, they were fine. I have two San Marzanos. So this is a San Marzano. I don't know if y'all can see that. And then I have another one on this side, and they have fruits on them already. So whether or not they'll size up, I guess that remains to be seen. And then we have our cherry tomato, which I'm expecting to do just fine. And we have cherry tomato fruits on there already, if y'all can see that. So we're just waiting for those to kind of like size and ripen up. On this side over here, we have more of our leafy greens. Now I have some Swiss chard over here, and I don't know what has been troubling Swiss chard in my garden, but Swiss chard has really not grown the best for me in the last few instances I've tried to grow it. I noticed that the green ones in particular seem to struggle the most. The red ones kind of like second. I never really have an issue with the yellow ones, but the thing is, they come mixed like in the pack, so you really just don't know what it's gonna be until it's growing. I have some carrots over here that have sprouted. Not a ton of them. I planted 16 in this little square foot. It seems like we have 4 sprouted and 1 sprouted out of the space that it was supposed to sprout in. I have some endive growing over here, and then we have some spinach on this side. Now I'm sorry if I keep stepping in the shadows, y'all. I'm trying to be cognizant of it, but sometimes it just happens that way. And then we have something that is trying to breach my brassica bed. There are some eggs here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get those off because we absolutely don't want that. These plants here, so this is a cabbage, if I am not mistaken. I believe this is Savoy cabbage. The 3 behind it are cauliflower plants. I believe those are amazing cauliflowers, if I remember correctly. And then these plants here are all broccoli. These are Easter Magic broccoli, so those actually sized up quite a bit. You can see that something has been in here eating my plants. I did spray, so I think it kind of killed it off, whatever it was. But now we have something else trying to breach the actual net, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean those eggs off. Up here I have my flash collards. These were the collard greens that I grew last year. Absolutely love these. I picked them pretty young. This is about the size, maximum size I would want to pick these, so I'll probably come out and harvest these pretty soon. And then on this side we have bok choy and a carrot that has breached the bok choy square, but I'm waiting for those to come up. And then we have some more carrots over there, and this little section is probably the best of my carrot germination for this year. So I'm probably going to plant some more carrots pretty soon. That is like the one thing that I wanted like the most of, and it seems like the carrots just did not absolutely did not want to work with me. And then we of course have some other little ugly green bug here. Now I have no idea what this is, y'all. I don't know if this is like some type of shield bug or what. That's what it looks like. But if you know what this is, please let me know, because that thing is ugly. And he's definitely gonna have to get out of here. On this side, I have more lemongrass. So this was like the very first lemongrass I planted into the bed, and it has grown like tremendously. Absolutely happy with this. In love with the lemongrass and in love with lemongrass tea. I have my gold beets in the back here, which haven't really like just taken off at all. So I don't know if they're just not getting enough sun, which is a very big possibility. That they're getting shaded out, and then I'm hoping that they do decide to come through. I put lettuce here. I don't think I ever planted them because nothing ever came out of this little thing right here. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to plant something over there. And then of course we have radishes. I did harvest some of those. I have more on this side that are probably past the point of needing to be harvested for sure, but they actually grew really well this year under this square foot method gardening, so really happy with that. And then I have leeks here, which technically we are not supposed to be growing in this season, but they seem to be doing just fine. This bed over here I went ahead and cleared out for the most part. I have coleuses, I have my salvia and another coleus over here, so hopefully these survive through the winter. If not, hopefully they'll come back in the spring. The green beans have struggled in this bag. I stopped watering and we haven't really been getting that much rain, so it really is on me to water and to make sure the plants have what they need as far as watering. But I do have another lemongrass there that is doing pretty well. I'm going to amend this bed. This is going to be the main bed where we're planting the onions come November. And then I have a basil here, which I just stuck there because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. So it looks like a little moth wing or something. I wonder if like the moth just died in the garden and it's broke apart. I don't know what happened there. But this is the other side of the Roma tomatoes, so you guys can see that we have some pretty nice size Romas on here. I'm pretty sure we'll get some off before it gets too late. And then what I may end up doing, to be honest, I do have every intention of covering this bed here, and I might even just go ahead and cover it with like frost protection cloth to help ensure that the plants have the warmth that they need so that they can continue producing through their entire life cycle. On this side we have some broadleaf, what is this? It's escarole. It's broadleaf Batavia escarole. I have some garden blend lettuces and apparently some mini romaine that I think I split up this little square, but it is taking forever to come in. I'm hoping to have lettuces soon because it seems like that's just the one thing that I want and it refuses to come up. I have two things of cilantro here because I have been on a cilantro shortage, so I'm hoping that I'll have a successful fall and maybe winter growing these. This is one of the beds that will likely be covered with frost cloth as well. You guys can see I have the like the netting stand ready. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm gonna actually cover it with the netting first, because I have tulle, and while the tulle, yes, it can reach, it's more about making sure that there are no like breaches in the actual tulle, and then I'll cover that over with the frost cloth. So I'm pretty sure those will be fine. I have basil over here that I put here, and basil in my garden just gets eaten alive. So far it has been really hard for me to grow basil, and I think what I'm going to do going into next year is I'll probably have to put it somewhere separate and cover it up in order for me to actually get any. I planted lettuce here. I don't know what these are. These might be little gem lettuces, I'm thinking. I went ahead and dropped seed for that. And if it's not that, it's winter density romaine. These are spinach that are taking forever to come up. These things are supposed to be 22 days to harvest, and they've been in here for over a month, and this is how they look. Over here we have parsnips. The parsnips are starting to come up, so that is nice. And I'm finally getting some headway on my heading lettuces over there. Now, I know I said I was not growing heading lettuces in a bed before because I struggled with them. I struggled with the snails is that what? No, slugs. We don't have, well, we do have snails here, but it's the slugs that seem to make their way into the garden bed. But considering that I'm trying the square foot gardening method, I went ahead and gave this one more shot to see if that makes any difference in the ability for the plants to grow to size and without a bunch of interference from bugs. Over here I have my provider beans. Now I will tell y'all, it is incredibly difficult to grow green beans in the fall here because of things like leaf curlers and leaf cutters. They absolutely love the green beans. They destroy them. So I'm hoping that I get a pretty good harvest off of these, enough to where I can be satisfied until the spring. But I did notice that the flowers on these are super pretty. They have this like nice little I want to say it's more like a cross between like lavender and violet, like these flowers, and I think they're so pretty. The nasturtiums are coming up finally. I'm hoping that they'll be able to put on some flowers before it gets too cold. Of course I have more lemongrass over here. I have beets over here that really just are not doing well. So I don't know if these are my seeds at this point, or if maybe the conditions in this bed just aren't that great. And I say that because like even the radishes over here compared to the other bed, they look like they're struggling a little bit. So I don't know. I am going to be amending this bed and side dressing pretty soon. We have eggplant over here. This was the eggplant that I shifted out of the raised bed into the grow bag, and you can see that it is trying to fruit again. I think part of what's happening is obviously it had to get acclimated to being in the bag. It's also trying to put on new leaves to support the plant's growing habits, and then it was already kind of fruiting. So couple of things, a few things going on there, but I think, you know, as long as it stays at least in like the 70s, we will get some eggplant. And then I have this tomato plant over here that is doing okay despite looking a little crazy. It has some fruits on it. I think this one really is just struggling as far as like water goes. I think that's the main thing. What I've noticed is the petunias, they seem to drink a lot of water, and then so do tomatoes, right? So the struggle has been keeping the bag watered enough, but also balancing between not letting it dry out and then not overwatering so that we don't end up with blossom and rot. And then last but not least, we have our banana plant over here. I think the temperatures are definitely getting to this. It seems like we have a lot of die off on the leaves. But the one thing that I know I need to do, that I keep saying I'm going to do and have not done yet, is to remove some of these. I think we have about 4 of these now, like 4 actual banana stems that are growing in this one little pot. And then if you look here, they've started to put off babies. So that is not going to work, right, if we want to have an actual good harvest next year. So we do have to come in and take care of this plant and separate it, and then create an environment for each of the plants to thrive. I don't know for sure if I'll keep all of them, but I was thinking for sure I would definitely do 2. That way, you know, as they're putting off their fruits and growing their like little baby stems, that we can ensure that we have ready plants for the years going forward. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tour. This is what is going on in the garden right now. It looks a little crazy in some places, but you know, I'm happy and excited about being able to kind of fall back a little bit from the garden, not having to necessarily be out here every single day watering and doing tasks, but being able to come out, check every few days, enjoy what I'm seeing, you know, seeing the growth, being able to see the growth and then just kind of taking it in without having to chase off pests and, you know, be spraying and worrying about, you know, if I don't check it, if something is going to destroy the garden in a 24-hour period. I appreciate y'all for sticking around and just being on this journey for me. Hello to all of our new friends. Thank you for subscribing and joining me on my gardening journey. Don't forget to check the description box for the affiliate links. I usually list like my favorite garden products down there, things that I'm using every single day in my garden. Let's keep learning, sowing, and growing together, friends. Until our next garden update. Bye.